I'm Mary Polchaninoff, and welcome to Sure Things. I love bringing to our viewers different aspects and different resources to help you have a better life, and I'm very excited with my guest today that I met at the Rotary in Old Saybrook. Today's guest, Gina Johnson. Welcome, Gina.
Hi, Mary. Thanks for having me here. I'm happy to be here.
Gina, you're a holistic life/business coach, which I just found was so interesting. So can you tell us more about how you actually, your background?
Sure.
And how you got there, because that's interesting.
Thank you for having me here. So I'm actually a former chef. And I thought I wanted to be a chef forever, and I thought I had the world figured out. I started cooking when I was 8 years old, and then somehow, some way, when I turned 40, it just was not filling my bucket anymore, and I was like, okay, now what am I going to do? So as a chef, I worked at a bed and breakfast in Old Saybrook, which is how I fell in love with the shore. And so here I am, fast forward many years later, and now I live here and I love it. So I did personal chefing for myself. I had my own business called Gina Cooks, and I did personal chefing in people's homes and parties and catering, as well as working at the bed and breakfast. And I would go to these networking meetings because I did marketing as well, and I always felt so lucky because I listened to these women who were stuck and who were in transition, and they were midlife, they're starting to become empty nesters, and they would say, oh, well, I used to do this, but I'm not sure where I'm going next. And I always felt so lucky, like, wow, I'm never going to be there. At least I know what I want to do.
You knew how much you loved cooking.
When I was a child, I played restaurant. I didn't play house, I played restaurant, right? I always wanted to be a chef, and I felt like I'm so lucky to live my dream. And then all of a sudden, when things shift, and it's just not filling your bucket anymore, and I just wasn't happy, and I was like, okay, now what? So I leaned into the holistic community many years ago. I had leaned into that community when I had a tragedy happen in my life, and it helped me get through a difficult time. So I remembered, maybe I'm going to try Reiki again. Maybe I'm going to try acupuncture. I'm going to try all these holistic things. And so I did, and I followed the breadcrumb trail, and anything that looked exciting and fun around that holistic realm, I just took a class and I collected certifications. So
You did, so you have a lot under your belt.
I think I have about 10 or 12. I'm a Reiki master and crystal singing bowls and chakra balancing and all sorts of different things. And I just did whatever was bringing me joy. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to be a healer. This is my next act.
That's what it sounds like.
Right? Well, one would think. Skills. So I practiced for a while, and then it led me to a mind, body, spirit center. And the way things evolved, it turns out that I became a business coach, and most of my clients are holistic type businesses. So that background really led me to my passion.
So it's interesting when we use the word holistic. What would a holistic business be versus a business?
So a holistic, I like to say it's a spiritual-based business, but it's really a service-based business. So your business, you're a service-based business, right? As a real estate agent, you're a service-based business. It could be a yoga studio. I mean, it could be. I have a client who's a painter, right? He paints houses. It could really be any business. It's just more of taking a holistic approach. They take a holistic approach, whereas it's not cookie cutter. You're not looking at. Right, you don't sell a house to everyone the exact same way. Right. You're looking at their lifestyle, how big their family is, what do they like to do they need a yard, what do they need, right? So it's really looking at the whole person and their whole life. So I like to say, here is your life, here is your business. So we design the business to suit your life and your lifestyle.
That is fascinating.
So it really can work for any type of a business, as long as you're wanting to serve your clients in a way individually, not just everybody gets treated the same way, right?
Right. So have you found that, this is interesting to think about with that business model in mind, have you found, and you obviously are very successful, have you found clients that nope, not going to do it, I want to do it this way, or do they just not seek you out, perhaps?
Interesting, yes. So all of the messaging that I use and all of my speaking and terminology and everything I do, I try to do it to attract and repel, because we have to be a fit. And I actually encourage my clients who are seeking out a business coach, go interview a couple of people. follow them on social media, follow me, see if I resonate with what you say, because it really does have to be a fit to be successful. And most of my clients work with me for a 3-month or a 5-month period to get their business up and running, but they keep coming back. So I have a lot of people that are on maintenance, we call it, right? I have this one client, which is very funny, and her husband, we worked together for a few months, and then she decided to do a once-a-month check-in. And her husband said, I know you work with Gina, I know you had a lot of success, and she's doing great things for our business, but why does she still come here once a month? And she's like, well, remember you said, why did I pay to get weighed at Weight Watchers? She weighs me. So
Oh, what a great way to, what a great analogy.
So it's very fun,
It's
but
a check-in.
It's a check-in. It's a check-in because when you are your own boss, I mean, you can wake up when you want, you can put something in the crock pot, you can go to the gym, you can go shopping, but when you are paying a coach and somebody who is your person and your advocate for you to keep you on track, you know you have to be accountable.
That's the accountability.
And as an educator, a former educator, you know what kids do, or anybody who has to take an exam the night before they cram. So if somebody knows they have a once-a-month check-in with me, leading up to that 2-3 days before they're cramming, and a lot of times they'll get on the Zoom, or if I meet them in person, they're like, so I just did yesterday. I'm like, of course you did, or what'd you do this morning, right? They're getting ready.
Oh, you've got the secrets behind it, so they're not going to pull that over. Right?
And if it's just like wasting your money. It's like paying a trainer and leaving the training session and going to McDonald's. If you're going to pay a trainer, you're actually going to keep up with it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so interesting. I checked out your website, and it's just, you have so much on there. But there was a quote that I really loved. My passion is to inspire others to do what lights them up. I know that's just part of that. Was just, I felt amazing.
Oh,
that was so inspiring for people. And you'd feel like your focus really comes from that holistic background, the different avenues you tried.
Right.
To get to this point. Did you have any business training beforehand?
I did. So, way back when, a million years ago, I majored in business. I did marketing. So I used to work for Service Master, and I did their marketing for them. And out at West Hartford years ago, I worked for a water filtration company, and I did that marketing piece. But I also facilitated women in business groups. And I wasn't selling anything, I was just facilitating the group. It happened by accident. I subbed for someone, and before you know it, I was taking over running these women's groups. And I listened to person after person, like I said, trying to find themselves. And so I started to think about, they all have the same problem. What's this common thing? It doesn't matter what your business is, right?
Right.
So I, long story short, I left facilitating the group when I was working at the Mind, Body, Spirit Center. And I was doing their marketing as well and their promotions. Prior in my background, when I was a chef, I was a catering manager, so I facilitated a lot of events. And so it's all, and I worked at a hotel and a restaurant, and all of that is your training to make people feel comfortable in their own shoes, and knowing when they're awkward and they're uncomfortable. So it's a combination of all of the jobs and roles and positions I've ever had. Of course, I've had some professional training in order to do this. I've worked with hundreds of people, but it's really the life skills of all of the careers and being a mom and all of the jobs I've ever had.
Blending it all together for this.
Blending it all together, and I like to tell people, another quote that I have is, the secret to your secret sauce is you.
I saw the secret.
So if here you are as a former educator, if you went into your career in your profession and tried to sell someone a home and take them through that journey, because it's not about just the home, right? And you left the part out that you were an educator, there'd be something missing from your recipe, right? There's something missing. So rather than just say, oh, well, I'm a business coach, I always throw out, I'm a former chef. People find it interesting. It's part of my journey. So, don't leave out any of those ingredients.
That's so interesting, because it is part of your journey. I remember when we met early on, that was one of the things that really impressed me about you too. Your background, you have so many of these pieces that you've put together. Where is this Mind Spirit Center? Where is that mind?
I don't know. I don't know where it comes from, but I just know that it just brings me joy. So I'm an extrovert, as you can see.
I do know that as well.
However, I do need to replenish. So I do need that alone time, and I need that grounding time, and you know, whether it's 15 minutes on the beach or that special 15 minutes alone with my cup of coffee, I need that to recharge.
And that helps you. Go on.
It helps me ground.
So it sounds like you mentioned your clients for your supporting the business, and you have like 6 months or 3 months or 6 months. About how many clients do you actually, are you working with?
At the same time?
Yeah.
Usually anywhere between 10 to 15.
Really, and that's...
Yeah, and some of them get a weekly check-in, some of them get twice a month, it depends where they're at. And then I have people that, I call it a dial-a-pizza, they just call me up and they're like, okay, I need a call, and they just come out of the blue, my past clients, and I cultivate my clients together. I have a group, and I bring everybody together because it's not just your journey, we learn from each other, right? So like I was just at a networking coffee this morning, and it's about women supporting each other and rising in business together by supporting each other, bringing people together. So I do that a lot in my practice. I host quarterly luncheons, and
I love that idea.
Nurturing each other. So why not use each other's services?
Right, and I love that idea because I know, like, again, with starting a business or something like that, that it can feel very isolating, and sometimes it also feels like you're reinventing the wheel because you haven't. Or sometimes it's competitive and people don't really want to share. So I think that networking is really important.
Yeah, and I think going back to, that piece of attracting and repelling my clients, right? It's very obvious early on if we're going to be a fit. And it hasn't happened often, but a couple of times, I've had a client and they're not coachable.
That's what I was wondering when I had asked earlier, if there were people you can't work with.
And usually I'll figure that really, really early on.
Yeah.
And when I point it out to them, they're, usually if they're not coachable, it's not the first time they're hearing this. Right?
They just look, they keep searching.
It's a common theme, but it doesn't happen often, which is why I always encourage people, watch my videos, attend a workshop. Like, you don't even, I might not be a fit for you. Sure. Somebody else would be. And because I always say, this is a Tony Robbins quote, he used to say all the time, or probably still does, I'm in the business of creating raving fans. If you work with a client and you're a good fit, it's not about, like for you, just selling them the one house. They're going to tell their kids, their neighbors, everybody they work with.
Looking for that forever client.
Right? And that's what it's about if you're really working with the people that you're meant to work with.
Right, great. Well, when we come back, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about your journey and more about your website, because it's fascinating.
Thank you.
We'll be back in just a minute. See you later.
You matter.
You matter.
You matter.
And your words matter too.
Your words matter.
What you say in the hallways at school or in the student section at a game matters.
Words can be hurtful.
Words can be offensive.
Words can leave scars.
Words can also inspire,
Support and uplift.
You and your words.
Are they both important?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights, vests,
please give us some room.
slow down. Slow down and move over.
When you need help,
It's our job
To help you.
to save you.
despite the danger.
This danger is real. Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
Hi, welcome back. Today's guest, Gina Johnson. Again, welcome back.
Thank you, Mary.
So we were talking about your background, which is so interesting, and your, I don't want to say your facilitation on groups, but also your leadership on groups, because with your coaching, you do a lot of that as well. One of the questions I had was, who are your mentors, or who have you read that resonate with you and impact how you do your coaching?
There have been so many over the years. At a young age, when I think I was maybe 16, my siblings and I discovered Tony Robbins. And we used to pass these cassettes back and forth. It was this big white box, and you opened it, it was all these plastic cassettes. And I don't even know who originally bought it or whatever, but I listened to him, for many, many years, and that helped me think big and beyond about goal setting and giving back and doing community service and having gratitude. And later on in life, I was able to attend a couple of his events. And I don't follow him religiously anymore, but I did for many, many years. So I think he was probably the first person that influenced me.
Yeah.
I typically try to work with a coach every other year or every 2 years, just to keep myself up, right? I can't expect people to invest in me if I'm not investing in myself. So I've had a few great coaches, various people. Anything, if you looked at my Audible on my phone, I really enjoy listening to personal development, and there are just so many people. I worked with a coach a few years ago, Kelly Roach. She's phenomenal, and she now has shifted her business, so she works with multi-million-dollar businesses. But when she first started out, I used to follow her, and this is way before TikTok, and just do my research.
That is awesome. It's interesting that you still touch base, every now and then with a coach, and as you said, to keep up with everything. On your website, it's very inclusive. You have so much on your website about you, your books, your networking groups, and you mentioned I saw your books there, and you have a book coming out. Could you tell us a little about that?
Oh yes, thank you. Actually, the prototype just came in yesterday. It's a workbook. So part of the business coaching I do, I incorporate. I like to say, like, I sneak in the life coaching.
Yeah.
So remember when your kids were little and used to sneak in the vegetables, right? Blend it in the pizza sauce kind of a thing. So I sneak in the life coaching, and over the years it's turned into a little more of that. I'm not sneaking it in anymore, but basically I wrote this book, a 90-day book it's a workbook, shifting your vibration.
Shifting your vibration.
Shifting your vibration. So we all vibrate at a different level. So if you are with Debbie Downers all day and people that are like Eeyore, right, you're going to mimic them. And your energy is going to be here. So what happens when you and I get together, right? We're all excited, and you're up, and you're in a great mood, and so because I do these rituals that I practice every day, so I've been doing them for years and years and years, and it's a combination of things I've learned at multiple conferences and trainings and workshops, and so I slide it into my coaching. And this past year, I had at least a half a dozen clients say, "Can you write that down? Can you send me a worksheet? Can you send me something? You need to write a book on this." So that's what I did this summer. I put together a 90-day workbook type thing, which there'll be a training on it as well. And it's really, it's just a journal type of a book. So if you're doing things that bring you joy and are fun, and you're doing these grounding exercises, but it's really starting with, 5 things I'm looking forward to every morning, 5 things I'm grateful for, and then 5 things I want to attract. But if you're writing these things down every day, you're raising your vibration. You're now thinking you're vibrating high. And do you ever think about when you're on a roll, when you win something, right?
Yeah.
You ever been at an event and the same person wins 3 or 4 times? Their vibration is high.
Yeah.
So if they were driving somewhere, they would get the first parking spot. Oh, this is great. And you're manifesting these things.
That's like that.
It's intentional. Being intentional about it.
Yeah.
So, and it could be silly things, big things, but we all have that power to believe it's going to happen. And so incorporating that into your life and your business, again, it's a combination. It's not just your business and your life. It's together.
Yeah.
So that's what this book is for. It's just kind of a 90-day reboot to track yourself and keep your vibration up.
That's amazing. We can't wait till that comes out, because that's going to be amazing. And you said that'll be on Amazon. You said
yes, it'll be on
great.
Amazon. This is my first published book on Amazon. Like I said, I just received
That's
the proof, so I'm excited.
Congratulations!
Thank
to
you. Tweaking a couple of things, but it'll be for sale probably by the time this airs. Yeah.
That's great. No, that's great to hear. It's interesting when you talk about the vibration, because when I describe you to people, I talk about your energy. That comes through. And then I was also reading on your website, in which we've heard in the past, that you are the compilation of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It reminds me of what you said about Eeyore. You're right. There are people that are, I call them energy zappers.
Right.
And
the vampires.
Yeah. You get with them, and it's just
right.
So it really is about, I guess, also following your passion, also surrounding yourself with people that are going to lift you up with that.
Right, and sometimes we can't avoid them, right? There are relatives. There are our significant others' relatives. There are colleagues, and so sometimes you can't avoid them, but what you can do is you can set healthy boundaries and you can limit your exposure. So that means not doing the one-on-one with them, only being with them in a group, and maybe you're not sitting directly near them.
Right,
so there's
almost to protect yourself.
Yeah, there's little ways of protecting your energy and your vibration, and not overstaying with them too long, and not internalizing it. So I have all these little tips and tricks in this workbook to survive those types of things, because again, you can't just cut everybody out of your life.
No, that's what's needed. Then you're right. Those trips for that self-protection, and so that you're not brought down by those people. It can be very, as I said, energy zapping on that. Right. So when you think, how many years would you say you've been doing this?
Almost 10.
Almost 10 years, great. When you think about your history and your clients you've had, is there one that stands out when you think of success stories? I know you have many, but.
So many. Two in particular. One is a local guy who's a painter, and he just kind of hung his shingle. And he tells the story, and he's very high energy, and he tells the story of how he was meditating and praying to God that this one morning, and he said, I'm in over my head. So basically he hung his shingle, and the clients were coming out of the woodwork, and he didn't think he was going to grow so far so fast. Yeah. And I need help, and here I am, a guest at this networking event, and we go around the room, and I say who I am and what I do, and he said, I need you, and 3 days later, we were working together, and he's been with me for a couple of years, and his business has blown up. And anyway, and now he buys like blocks of coaching with me. So he'll buy 10 at a time, and then he'll just text me and be like, "Okay, Gina, can we meet? I got some things going on," and it's just a check-in. And so I'm so proud of him and how much he's grown and been very successful. And another client I'm thinking of, she is a counselor. She works for the state. And I met her at a networking event, and she reached out to me, and she said she's a counselor, psychologist, she worked for the state, and she had this vision. And she had this vision of having a wellness center, and she wanted to have at least 10 different types of therapists there, but she wanted it to kind of be a mind, body, spirit, little bougie type center, and she wanted to offer other types of therapy for children, for women, for eating, for all sorts of things, but she wanted to make it a more of a spiritual experience, and wanted to speak on stage and be multi-millionaire. And if you're a counselor and you're working for the state, that's unheard of.
Probably not going to be a multi-millionaire.
But she's on her way. She's $1 million business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's hitting her first million.
Doing counseling.
Doing this. And so she achieved it. And so this is my success story. And so I was so excited, because both of these clients were really like brass ring, like, I want to be big, not, some people, I just want to make enough money to pay my bills. I'm like, why? Right? Think bigger, think bigger.
Think bigger, right.
So I'm telling these two particular clients because they wanted to think big, and I loved the challenge. And I was like, okay, if this is what you want. So, but some people just want to be here. Okay, I can get you here. If that's really what you want. I try to push them and stretch them, but these people were here.
And they got there.
Yes, and so she opened her first center, and then it was COVID and it closed, so she had to reopen another center. I think she has 12 therapists working for her now.
Wow.
She's a paid speaker. She travels the world. She's local, and her center, I host retreats at her center. I rent it out and host retreats, and it's so bougie and beautiful and everything she imagined.
You must be so proud about that.
I went to her home this summer. She invited me to their family barbecue, and I was just like just in awe of everything that she's achieved, right?
And that's kudos to you for your direction on that. When you talk about these networking events, because I'm so interested in those as well, are they? Can you find those on your website? They're not on my website. More social media?
I do them. Yes, I'm ginajohnson.co on everything. I don't suggest my clients are on everything, but I'm on every platform. Except Snapchat, and I never went on Snapchat because I thought my kids deserved their own platform.
Oh, they probably do, right?
Right, and because the only reason I'm on every platform is because I need to know about the platform if it's appropriate. Because I recommend one or two platforms for people, so I need to understand all of them. So yes, so I would say go to your platform of choice, and my events are there on my website, on all of my social.
And those are free events.
Networking, most of them are free. I host the
something.
coffee today.
Yep.
I'll be hosting a luncheon on September 11th, and it's really, again, it's for that group of clients.
Sure.
So even though we might not actively be coaching, I say it's like getting out of the mafia when you work with
Yep.
me. You're still in the fold, right? I'm still texting and saying, oh, you have a typo on this, and maybe share that here, and I just love it, and it just comes so natural. So
yeah, you are working 24/7, because I also know your community outreach is huge, and you're, whether it's the soup kitchens or the Rotary or the chamber, you're involved in so many things. So you're definitely an amazing model of giving back, and I do think that comes full cycle with the whole.
Thank you. I enjoy it. I'm passionate about it, and I'm an empty nester, so I have time.
Yeah.
So I have the time, but believe it or not, I am not going 24/7. I meditate for at least an hour every day. I do my routine. I take my walks. I do have a lot of downtime. People think I'm always going, but I'm not.
But that's really your self-care too, which
Yes.
is so important. So again, if anybody wanted to check you out on the social media sites, it would be ginajohnson.co.
Yes.
Okay.
ginajohnson.co.
I want to thank you again. This has
Mary.
been awesome. You're an inspiration for so many, and I know that it's amazing you do such good work for people.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me here, and I'm looking forward to continuing to volunteer with you in our community.
We got stuff coming up.
We
Good.
sure do.
All right. But thank you so much. That's all for today. Please send your comments, questions, or any feedback to surethingsct.gmail. I'd love to hear from you. Till next time, take care.